How'd you like that stuff about the knife? What a story.
Look, you gotta expect that. You know what we're dealing with.
He bought a switch knife that night.
Yeah, and then he lost it.
A hole in his pocket.
A hole in his father.
That's an awful way to kill your father. A knife in the chest?
Just look at the kind of people they are. You know them. Look, this is open shut, isn't it? A kid kills his father. Bang. Just like that. It's the element. They let the kids run wild. It serves them right.
There's no point in getting emotional about it. It's a question of evidence, not how we feel.
We all agreed that it would be hot.
And that our tempers will get short.
Well, that's if we disagree. But this is an open and shut, so let's get it done.
All right, I'm not going to make any rules. If we want to discuss it first and then vote, that's one way, or we could all just vote right now and see where each of us stand.
Let's vote now. Who knows? Maybe we can all go home.
Yeah, let's just see who's where.
Right. Let's vote now.
All right, let us vote.
Anybody doesn't want to vote?
That was easy.
All right, all those voting guilty, raise your hands. That's 11 for guilty. Okay, not guilty.
Hey, you're left field.
Okay, 11 to 1. 11 guilty, 1 not guilty. Now we know where we stand.
Do you really believe that he's not guilty?
I don't know.
After 6 days, he doesn't know.
In 6 days, I can learn calculus. This is ABC.
Okay, I don't think this is as simple as ABC.
I've never seen a guiltier man in my life.
What does a guilty man look like? He's not guilty until we say he's guilty. Are we to judge him on his face?
Sat in the same court and heard the same things I did. That man is a dangerous killer. You could see it.
And where do you look to see if a man's a killer?
Well,
No, I'd like to know what the facial characteristics of a killer are. Maybe you know something that I don't.
Look, what is there about the case that makes you think the boy is innocent?
He's 19 years old.
that's old enough. He knifed his father 4 inches into the chest. An innocent little 19-year-old kid.
I agree with you that the boy is guilty, but I think we should try to avoid emotionally colored arguments.
All right, they proved it a dozen different ways. You want me to list them for you?
No,
Well, do you buy that stupid story he told?
Okay.
Do you believe the kid's story?
I don't know, okay? Maybe I don't.
So what'd you vote not guilty for?
There were 11 votes for guilty. You know, it's not so easy for me to raise my hand and send a kid off to die without at least talking about it first.
I think the kid's guilty. You could talk about it for 100 days and you still wouldn't change my mind.
I don't want to change your mind.
What do you want?
I want to talk for a while, okay? This kid's been kicked around his whole life. I just think it's fair to say we owe him a few words, that's all.
All right, it's hard. Sure, it was hard for me. Everything I've got, I fought for, okay? I worked my way through school. I fought, yes, but I never killed.
I know what it's like. I never killed nobody.
I've been kicked around too. Wait until you work in an ad agency, I'm the big boy that buys the advertising and walks in. We all know.
In my
Listen, I don't mind telling you this, all right? We don't owe that kid a thing. Look, you're not gonna stand up here and tell us if we're supposed to believe him knowing what he is. I've lived among them all my life. You can't believe a word they say and you know that.
I don't know that. What a horrible thing to believe. Since when is dishonesty a group
All right, it's
characteristic?
not Sunday. We don't need a sermon.
If we're gonna discuss this case, let's discuss the facts.
I may have an idea here, I'm just kind of thinking out loud now, but it seems to me that it's up to us to convince this gentleman that we're right and he's wrong. Maybe if we each talk for a minute or two, try it on for size.
That sounds fair enough.
Very fair.
Supposing we each go once around the table.
All right, let's do it.
Right, we'll start with you.
Well, I just thought he was guilty. I thought that was kind of obvious.
Now, in what ways was it obvious?
Well, I mean, nobody proved otherwise.
Well, that's because nobody has to prove otherwise. Innocent till proven guilty. The burden of proof is on the prosecution. The defendant doesn't even have to open his mouth. That's in the Constitution, the Fifth Amendment. You've heard of it.
Everyone has.
Yes, I've heard of it. I know what it is. I just think he's guilty, okay?
Just guilty? No reasons? There's a life at stake here.
Okay, let's get to the facts. Number one, let's take that old man who lived right underneath the room in the apartment where the murder took place. At around 10 minutes after 12 on the night of the killing, he said that he heard loud noises come from the upstairs apartment. He said that it sounded like a fight. Then he heard the kid say to his father, "I'm gonna kill you." A second later, they saw the father's body falling. Then they saw the kid running downstairs and out of the house 15 seconds after that. Then they called the police. They found the father with a knife in his chest.
And the coroner fixed the time of death at around midnight.
Right, now what else do you want?
Something doesn't fit.
The boy's entire story is flimsy. He claimed he was at the movies. That's a little ridiculous, isn't it? He can't even remember what picture
Right.
he saw.
Right, that is absolutely right. Did you hear her?
He didn't have any ticket stub.
Okay, but who keeps a ticket stub when they go to the movies?
That's true enough.
I suppose, but the cashier didn't remember.
And the ticket taker didn't either.
Look, what about the woman across the street? If her testimony don't prove it, then nothing does.
That's right, she saw the killing, didn't
Let's
she?
go in order.
All right, just a minute. Here's a woman who's lying in bed at night and can't sleep. It's hot, you know. Anyway, she gets up, she looks out her window, and she sees the kid stick the knife into his father.
Okay, but how can she really be sure that it was the boy that she saw through the windows of an elevated passing train?
She's known the kid all his life. His window's right opposite hers across the tracks, and she swore that she saw him do it.
I heard her swear to it.
Okay, and they proved in court that you can look through the windows of a passing train at night and see what's happening on the other side. They proved it.
could be wrong, but just a minute or two ago, were you not telling us how you can't trust them, how you can't believe them?
So?
Let me ask you this. What makes you believe her? She's one of them too, isn't she?
You're pretty smart.
Take it
aren't you?
easy.
Come on, man, sit down. What are you letting him get you all upset for? Relax.
Ladies and gentlemen, they did take us out to the women's room where we looked through the windows of a passing train, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
And weren't you able to see what happened on the other side?
Not as good as they told me I would be able to see, but yes, I
You
did.
see, you just admitted it.
Let's calm down now. It's your turn.
I'll pass it.
That's your privilege. What about you?
I don't know. Didn't they say something about an argument between the father and the boy at around 7 o'clock that night? I mean, I could be wrong.
Okay, what does that prove?
It doesn't exactly prove anything. It's just part of the picture. I never said it proved anything.
Anything else?
No.
I don't know. Most of it's been said already. We can talk about this thing all day, but I think we're wasting our time.
Well, I don't.
Neither do I. Go on.
Look at the kid's record. He stole a car. He's been arrested for mugging. I think they said he stabbed somebody in the arm. He was picked up for knife fighting, and at 15, he was sent to
And they sent him to
school.
reform school for stabbing someone?
This is a very fine boy.
Ever since he was 5 years old, his father beat him up regularly. He used his fists.
So would I on a kid like
These
that?
kids, they pick on you. They try to beat you up for no reason. I hate tough kids. You work your heart out and then you... All right. Keep going.
We're missing the point. Let's say he's a product of a filthy neighborhood or a broken home. We can't help that. Ghettos are breeding grounds for criminals. I know it, and so do you. The children who come out of there are potential problems for society.
You said it there. I don't want any part of them, believe me.
I've lived in the ghetto all my life.
All right, wait a second.
I used to play in a backyard that was filled with garbage. You know what? Maybe it still smells on me.
Let's be reasonable. I mean, there's nothing personal.
There is something personal.
Come on, man. He didn't mean you. Let's not be so sensitive.
Then who did he mean?
I can understand this sensitivity.
Let's stop fighting.
We're wasting time.
It's your turn.
All right. From the beginning of the trial, I don't know, I had a weird feeling about it. For some reason, I just felt that the defense counsel never really did a thorough cross-examination. I felt like way too many questions were just, I don't know, left unasked.
While it doesn't change my opinion on the guilt of the kid, I agree the defense counsel was bad.
So,
This is a point.
What about facts?
So many questions were just never
What
answered.
about the questions that were answered? For instance, let's talk about that cute little switch knife that fine, upright boy admitted to buying.
No? Yeah, you're right. Miss Foreman, can we get it in here
We've
again?
already seen it. I don't see why we have to see it again. What do you think?
He has a right to see exhibits and evidence. This knife is a pretty strong piece of evidence, don't you agree?
I do.
So let's get the sequence of events right as they relate to the switch knife.
The boy admits going out of his house at 8 o'clock after being slapped by his father.
Or punched.
Or punched. He went to a neighborhood store and bought a switch knife. The storekeeper was arrested the following day when he admitted to selling it to the boy.
I think that we all agree that it's an unusual knife. It's pretty hard to forget something like that.
The storekeeper identified the knife and said it was the only one of its kind he had in stock. So why did the boy get it?
as a present for a friend of his, he said.
Am I right so far?
Yeah?
You bet she's right.
Next, the boy claims that on the way home, the knife must have fallen through a hole in his coat pocket, that he never saw it again. You know what actually happened. The boy took the knife home and a few hours later stabbed his father with it, and even remembered to wipe off the fingerprints. Everyone connected with the case identified this knife. Now, are you trying to tell me that someone picked it up off the street and went up to the boy's house and stabbed his father with it just to be amusing?
No. No, I'm saying that it's possible that the boy lost the knife and someone else stabbed his father with a similar knife.
Take a look at that knife. I mean, it's a strange knife. I've never seen one like it before in my life, and neither had the storekeeper who sold it to him. Aren't you trying to make us accept a pretty incredible coincidence?
No, I'm not trying to make anyone accept it. I'm just saying that it's
I'm
possible.
saying it's not possible. What are you trying to do?
Yeah, what is this? Who do you think you are?
Look at it. It's the same knife.
Let's be quiet.
Where did you get it?
I got in a little corner store around the boy's house. It cost me $2.
Listen to me.
I'm listening.
You pulled a real smart trick here, but you proved absolutely zero. Maybe there are 10 knives like that, so what?
Maybe there
The
are.
boy lied, and you know that.
And maybe he didn't lie. And maybe he did go to the movies, and maybe the reason the cashier didn't see him was because he snuck into the movies and he was ashamed to say so. Look, maybe he lied, maybe he didn't. Okay? Do you think he lied?
It's a stupid question. Of course he lied.
What about you? What do you think?
You don't have to ask me that. You know my answer. He lied.
And you?
I don't know.
Listen, there are still 11 of us who think he's guilty. You're alone. If you want to be stubborn and hang this jury, he'd be tried again and found guilty as sure as he's born.
Right. Let's get going here.
What do you think of this guy?
What do you say? He's the one holding up the show.
Obviously, you don't think the boy is guilty.
I have a doubt in my mind.
But you haven't really presented anything to us that makes it possible for us to understand your doubt. I mean, there's the old man downstairs. He heard it. He heard the boy shriek.
And the woman across the L track, she saw it.
We know he bought a switch knife that night, but we don't know where he really was. The movies?
Earlier that night, the kid and his father did have a fight.
He's been a violent kid all the way, and while that doesn't prove anything,
Still, you know.
I've got a proposition to make. Okay, I want to call for a vote by secret ballot. I'll abstain. If there are still 11 votes for guilty, I won't stand alone. We'll take in a guilty verdict right now.
All right, let's do it.
Perhaps this is what is best. All right, guilty, 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 guilty.
That's 6.
Please. 6 guilty, 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 not guilty, guilty.
What do you think of that?
Who was it? I think we have a right
All right,
to
who's
know.
the idiot that changed your vote?
Okay, is that the way to talk about a man's life?
What are you talking about? The life of the murderer or the life of the dead man?
I want to know
So do
who.
I.
Excuse me, but this was a secret
There are
ballot.
no secrets in here. And I know who it was. You changed your vote. That is the most sickening
Hold
thing.
it right there.
I agree with you that the man is guilty, but let's be fair.
Fair. But that's just what I'm saying. Or we're trying to put a guilty man where he belongs. And then all of a sudden we're paying attention to what? What fairy tale?
Just a minute.
Listen to
Let's
me.
try and keep this organized, people.
It isn't organized, but let's be civilized.
Please, I would like to say something here. I have always thought that in this country, a man had the right to have an unpopular opinion. And that is the reason why I came here. I've wanted to have the right to disagree.
You disagree with us.
In this one case, I agree with you. But what I'm ashamed to say is that in my own country...
Now what do we have to listen to? The entire history of your country?
It's always wise to bear in mind what has happened in other countries when people aren't allowed to disagree. But we are, so let's stick to the subject.
Yeah, let's stick to the subject. I want to ask you why you changed your
Oh,
vote.
no, you haven't told us yet.
Okay, why do you think I changed my vote?
Because I do. Now get on with it.
There's nothing for him to tell you guys. He didn't change his vote. I did.
I was gonna tell you, but you were so sure of yourself.
Sorry.
Maybe you'd like to know why.
Let me tell you
The
why.
man wants to talk.
Thank you. This gentleman chose not to stand alone against us. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone, even if you believe in something very strongly. He left the verdict up to us and gambled for our support. Well, I gave it to him. I want to hear more. The vote is 10 to 2.
That's fine. Your little speech is over. We can all move on.
Look, buddy, now that we kind of cooled off, I got a little excited a minute ago, okay? And I didn't mean to get nasty. It's nothing personal, right?
Okay.
Supposing you answer me this, if the kid didn't kill the father, then who did?
Okay, as far as I'm concerned, we're supposed to decide whether the boy on trial is guilty. We're not concerned with anyone else's motives here.
But who else would have had a motive?
I don't know. The kid's father was old, maybe an old grudge.
Remember, it is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah, everyone's a lawyer. Supposing you explain to us what your reasonable doubts are.
Well, this is not easy. So far, it's only a feeling I have.
A feeling? What are we gonna do? Spend the night talking about your feelings? What about the
You
facts?
said a mouthful. Look, the old man heard the kid yell, "I'm gonna kill you." A second later, they saw the father's body falling. Then they saw the kid running downstairs and out of the house 15 seconds after that.
Where's the reasonable doubt in that?
That's right, and let's not forget about the woman across the street. She looked into the open window and saw the boy stab his father. She saw
Now,
it.
if that's not enough for you.
It's not enough for me.
What is enough for you? I'd like to know.
How do you like him? It's like talking to a
The
wall.
woman saw the killing through the windows of a moving metro. The train had 5 cars, and she saw it through the last 2 cars. She remembers the most insignificant details.
What have you got to say about that?
I don't know, okay? It just doesn't sound right to me.
Well, supposing you think about it. Here. Lend me your pencil. We're gonna play tic-tac-toe to pass the time.
Hey, this isn't a game.
Wait a minute.
A man's life is at
Who
stake
do
here.
you
You're
think
playing a
you
game.
are?
All right, let's take it easy.
You got a good mind to walk around this table and bounce at
Please,
one.
I don't want any fights in here.
See him? The nerve, the absolute nerve.
Just forget about it, right? It don't mean anything.
How about sitting down?
This isn't a game. What does he think he is?
Weren't we talking about elevate trains?
Yes, we were.
So,
Okay. How long does it take an elevated train going at top speed to pass a given point?
what does that have to do with anything?
Just how long would it take? Take a guess.
I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
About 10 seconds, yes?
All right, 10 seconds, we're agreed. What are you getting at?
Okay, so a train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point. And that given point is the window of the room in which the killing took place. Now, from that window, you can, reach out and touch the L, right?
That's right, I tried it.
So,
Now, the old man downstairs, he claimed that he heard the boy
He
say,
didn't say it, he screamed it.
okay, he heard the boy scream, "I'm going to kill you." And 1 second later, he heard a body fall. 1 second, that is the testimony, right?
Right.
Now, the woman across the street looked through the windows of the last 2 cars and saw the body fall, right?
right? So,
The last 2 cars. The last 2 cars.
What are you giving us?
A train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point, or 2 seconds per car. Now, that train had been going by the old man's window for at least 6 seconds or maybe more before the body fell, according to the woman. Now, in order for the old man to have heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you," the front of the L had to have been roaring past his nose at that time. There's no way he could have heard
What do
it.
you mean? Sure, he could have heard it.
With a train going
The boy
by?
yelled it out.
The train makes a lot of noise.
It's enough for me.
It's enough for me, too.
I don't think he could have heard it.
Maybe he didn't. I mean, with the L noise, it kind of makes sense.
What are you people talking about? Are you calling this old man a liar?
Something doesn't sound right.
What stands to
You're
reason?
crazy. You're crazy. Why would he lie? He's got nothing to gain.
Well, you see, he's an old man with a torn jacket and carried 2 canes. A man like this, he's never been recognized, has a name in the newspaper. Nobody knows him after 75 years. It's a very sad thing. A man like this, he needs to be questioned and recognized and quoted just once. This is very important.
And you're trying to tell us he lied about a thing like this just so he could be important?
No, he wouldn't necessarily lie, but perhaps he'd make himself believe that he heard those words and saw the boy's face.
Well, that's the most fantastic story I have ever heard. Where'd you come up with a thing like that?
I'm not making it up.
You must be, because people don't lie about things like that.
He made himself believe he told the truth.
Yeah, what do you know about it?
I speak from experience.
What?
My grandpa was like that.
I think we all understand now, thank you.
If you want to admit your family of liars, then that's all right by me.
Okay, now that is too
He's
much.
far from a liar. He just told us so.
No, he was explaining.
Didn't you just admit that you were a liar?
Please. He was trying to help us better understand why the old man might have lied. There's a
A
difference.
liar is a liar. That's all there is to it.
Could you please have some compassion?
Everyone, please, we have our job and our duty here.
I think they've covered it.
I hope we have.
All right, is there anything else?
Cough drop?
No, thank you.
Does anybody want a cough drop?
Let's get on with it.
You know what? I'll take one. Thank you. Now, there's something else that I would like to point out here. I think we made it clear that the old man could not have heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you."
Well, I disagree.
Let's hear him through anyway.
Okay, well, given the fact that maybe he did hear the boy say, "I'm going to kill you," this phrase, how many times have each of you used it? You know, probably hundreds. If you do that once more, Junior, I'm going to murder you. Come on, Rocky, kill him. You see, we say it every day, and it's like second nature. We don't even notice it. And, you know, it doesn't always mean we're going to kill someone.
Don't the circumstances alter that somewhat?
The old man was murdered.
One thing more. The phrase, "I am going to kill you," right? And the kid screamed it at the top of his lungs.
That's the way I
So
understand
don't
it.
try and tell me that he didn't mean that. Because anybody that says a thing like that and the way he said it, they mean it.
And how they mean it.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that that boy would scream out something like that so the whole neighborhood could hear it? No. I think he's far too bright for that.
Bright? He's a thug. He don't even speak good English.
He doesn't even speak good English.
The boy is clever enough.
I'd like to change my vote to not guilty.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
The vote is 9-3 in favor of guilty.
I'd like to know why you changed your vote.
I think there's a doubt.
Where? Where is the doubt?
There's a knife.
Fine.
He talked you into believing a fairy tale.
Go on, give us the reasons.
The old man, too. Maybe he didn't lie. But then just maybe he did. I don't know. Maybe the old man doesn't like the kid.
Well, if that isn't the end,
I believe that there's a reasonable doubt.
what are you basing it on? Stories that this guy. Listen, the kid had a lawyer, didn't he? Why didn't his lawyer bring up all these points in court?
Lawyers can't think of everything.
Now we're supposed to believe that the old man didn't get out of bed, run to the door, and see the kid beat it downstairs 15 seconds after the killing.
That's a testimony, I believe.
And the old man swore to this. Yes, he swore to this only so he could be important.
Did the old man say he ran to the door?
Ran, walked, what's the difference?
I don't remember what he said, but I don't see how he could run.
He said he went. I remember it now. He went from his bedroom to the front door. That's enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where was his bedroom again?
Down the hall somewhere.
Down the hall somewhere. We're to send a man off to die because his bedroom is just down the hall somewhere?
I thought you remembered everything. Don't you remember that?
No, I don't.
I don't remember that either.
Miss Foreman, I'd like to see a diagram of the apartment, please.
Why don't we have them run the trial over just so you could get everything straight?
The bedroom was down the hall somewhere, just down the hall somewhere. Do you know exactly where it is? A man's life is at stake here. Do you know?
Well,
Miss Foreman.
Yes, I heard you.
All right. What's this one for? How come you're the only one in this room who wants to see the exhibits all of the time?
I want to see this one, too.
So do I.
I don't want to stop wasting time.
Are we going to start waiting through all that nonsense about where the body was found?
No. We're going to find out how a man who's had 2 strokes in the past 3 years of his life and walks with a pair of canes can get to his front door in 15 seconds.
He said 20 seconds.
No, he said 15.
How does he know how long 15 seconds is? You can't judge that kind of a thing.
He said 15 seconds. He was very positive.
He's old. Half the time he was confused. How can he be positive about anything that he said? Oh, well, you know.
No, I don't know. But maybe you know.
You wanted this?
Yes, please.
Listen, I looked at that diagram for 2 hours. Enough is enough.
Some of us are interested. Go ahead.
All right. So this is the apartment where this killing took place. Now, the old man was in bed in his room. He says he got up, went out into the hall, down the hall, to the front door, opened it, looked out just in time to see the boy racing down the stairs. Am I right?
That's the story.
That's what happened.
15 seconds after he heard the body fall.
That's correct.
Now, his bed was at the window, which is, it's 12 feet from his bed to the bedroom door. The length of the hall is 43 feet 6 inches. He had to get up out of bed, get his canes, walk 12 feet, open the bedroom door, walk 43 feet, and open the front door, all in 15 seconds. Now, do you think that this is possible?
You know that it's possible.
I don't see why not.
He would have been in a hurry. He did hear the scream, didn't he?
But he can only walk very slowly. Remember how
You make it sound like it's a long walk. It's not.
For an old man that carries 2 canes, it is a very long walk.
Hey, what are you doing?
I want to try this thing. I'm going to pace off 12 feet, the length of the bedroom.
You're crazy. You can't recreate a thing like that.
I mean, perhaps if you could see it.
It's a ridiculous waste of time.
Let him do it.
I can't see any harm in it. It's foolish, but go ahead.
Can you give me a chair, please?
Of course.
Thank you. So let's say this is the door of the bedroom. Now, how far would you say it is from here to the door of this room?
About 20 feet, just about.
Okay, 20 feet is close enough. So that would mean that from here to there and back is about 40 feet, which is shorter than the length of the hall that the old man had to walk through. Isn't that right?
A few feet, maybe.
Listen, this is absolutely insane. What makes you think that you can do this?
We can't stop him.
I mean, you don't mind if I try, right? According to you, it'll only take 15 seconds. We can spare that, right? Does anyone here ever watch with a second hand?
I have.
Okay, when you want me to start, stomp your foot. That'll be the body falling.
And then I'll time you from there.
And let's say he keeps his canes right at his bedside, right?
Right.
Okay, I'm ready.
I just want the hand to be at 60.
All right, speed it up. You walk twice as fast as that.
Actually, this I think is even more fast.
No, it
than you.
isn't.
If you want me to go faster, I will.
Speed it up a little.
Come on.
Okay, stop.
Right.
What's time?
39 seconds exactly.
That can't be.
39.
That's interesting.
Hey, now you know.
39 seconds.
And the old cripple swore on his oath that it was only 15.
You know, he may have been a little bit off on the time, but 24 seconds off, that's just...
Far be it from me to call anyone a liar, but even allowing for quite a difference in the speed between the old man and you, why there would still be quite a
discrepancy.
It's my guess that the old man was trying to get to his front door, heard someone racing down the stairs, and just assumed that it was the boy.
I think that's possible.
Assumed? Now listen, you people. I've heard all kinds of dishonesty in my day, but this display takes the cake.
What dishonesty?
Tell him. You come in here with your heart bleeding all over this floor about some ghetto kids and injustice, and you make up these wild stories. And you've got some softies listening to you. Well, I'm not. And I'm getting pretty sick of you. What's the matter with you people? This kid is guilty, and he's going to burn. And we're just letting him slip right through our fingers.
Our fingers? What do you use, executioner?
I'm one of them.
Perhaps you'd like to pull the
I'm a
switch.
kid like that. You bet I'd like to pull the switch.
Wow, I am sorry for you.
Don't start with me.
What it must feel like to want to pull the switch.
Shut up!
You're a racist.
Shut up!
You want to see this kid die because you personally want it, not because of the facts. You're a beast. It disgusts me.
I'm gonna kill you! I'm gonna kill you! Let me go! I'm gonna kill you! Go! Go! I'm gonna kill you! Go!
You don't really mean you're gonna kill me.
What are you looking at? I don't see why we have to behave like children here.
Nor do I. We should not make this a personal thing.
Thank you.
I think we should try another vote, Miss Foreman.
That's all right by me. Does anybody not want to vote?
I want an open ballot. I want to call out our votes. I want to know who stands where.
All right. I vote guilty. Number 2?
Not guilty.
3,
Guilty.
4,
Guilty.
5,
Not guilty.
6,
Not guilty.
7,
Guilty.
8,
Not guilty.
9,
Not guilty.
10,
Guilty.
11,
Not guilty.
12.
Guilty. That's 6 to 6.
You know what? I'll tell you all something. The real crime being committed is right here in this room.
The vote is 6 to 6.
I'm ready to walk into court right now and declare a hung jury. There's no point in going on anymore.
Why don't we let the kid take his chances with 12 other guys?
6 to 6. I don't think we'll ever agree on
It's gotta be
anything.
unanimous. We're never gonna convince him.
At first, I was alone, and now 5 others agree. There is a
You're
doubt.
never going to convince me that there's a doubt, because I know that there isn't a doubt.
I'll tell you what, maybe we are a hung jury. It happens sometimes.
No, we are not going to be a hung jury.
But we are right now a perfect balance, so let's take it into the judge.
If there is a reasonable doubt, I don't see it.
There's a doubt there in my mind.
Good. We go on.
I'd like to know why you changed your vote.
Well, he seems so sure, and he has made a number of good points, while she just gets mad and insults everybody.
Did the anger and the insult change the guilt of the boy? He did do it. Are you going to turn a murderer loose because one of the jurors gets angry when she thinks a murderer is being turned loose?
That's true.
Well, there is a doubt.
I don't think so. The track is straight in front of the window. Let's take that point. So the train would have made a low rumbling noise, and trains screech when they go around curves. So the old man could have heard a scream, which is high-pitched. And it is a tenement, and they have thin walls.
Good. Good, that's it.
And what if the old man was wrong about the time it took him to get to the door, but right about whom he saw? Please remember that there weren't any fingerprints on the knife, and it is summer, so gloves seem unlikely. And it may have taken a second or two to get out a handkerchief to wipe away the fingerprints.
That seems possible.
Hey, wait a minute. He falls, and he ends up on his right side, the father, that is. But stabbing someone isn't like shooting them. Even if it's right in the heart, he would have been lying there, moving around for a little bit, writhing, maybe?
That's quite possible. There would be enough oxygen in his system to carry him for about 2 or 3 seconds, I should suppose.
But then would not the father have cried
The
out?
kid could have held his mouth.
That also seems possible.
Also, there's another point we might bring up. Anyone who is clear enough mentally to wipe away the fingerprints after murdering someone, well, that person is also clear enough mentally to look around the apartment, or the room in this case, to see if there are any other clues. It would just be for a second or two, but he would still look.
This gets better and better.
We're trying to make it clear. One doesn't discuss quality when murder is involved.
Look, about this on the fingerprints. The kid wipes the fingerprints off the knife. What about the doorknobs? I mean, if I saw a guy coming to my home and he's wiping the doorknobs with handkerchiefs as he came in, I would get an uneasy feeling. So I'm going to guess he did that after the killing, and I think that too would take some time.
And whoever did murder the man, and I think it was the kid, still had to run down the hall and down the stairs, at least one flight of stairs. So I think it is reasonable to suppose that the old man did see the kid run downstairs.
And the old man feels the same way everyone else does. Life's at stake.
So the story of the old man may well be true.
Except for the fact that he swore under oath that it was only 15 seconds.
And we all agreed that it was 20 to 45 seconds later.
Now, you are now admitting that the old man lied in one case and told the truth in the other. Now, I will admit that this does tend to confirm the story of the old man, but he is now a proven liar. And this by your own admission.
That may be true that the old man lies in part, but I think I will change my vote once more. Guilty.
All right, what about you? You.
I don't know. I want to talk some more. At first I thought guilty, then I changed. Now I'm sort of swinging back to guilty.
You?
No. I am now in real doubt.
I say guilty. I was right the first time.
Now we're beginning to make sense in here.
The vote seems to be about 9 guilty to 3 not guilty.
Okay, one more question about the old man who lived downstairs. How many of you guys lived in apartment buildings?
I do not know what you are thinking, but I know what I'm thinking.
What's that?
That I do not live in a tenement, but it is close, and at night it is so dark and the bulbs are so dim, you can barely see anything. Do you guys remember how we stumbled out on the steps?
The police officers were using big bulbs. One even had a flashlight, remember?
An old man who misjudged the time by 20 seconds. On this we all agree.
He was 100% wrong about the time. It took twice as long as he thought.
But then could not the old man be 100% wrong about who he saw?
That is the most idiotic thing I have ever heard. You're making that up out of thin air.
We're a hung jury, let's be honest about it.
You. Do you truly feel that there's no room for reasonable doubt?
Yes, I do.
I'm sorry, but then perhaps you do not understand the term reasonable doubt?
What do you mean I don't understand it? Who are you to talk to me like that? They come over here running for their lives, and as soon as they take a big breath, they're telling us how to run the show.
No one here is asking where anyone came from.
I was born right here.
Or where your father came from.
You know, maybe it wouldn't hurt us to take a few tips from people who come running here. You know, maybe they learn something that we don't know. We're not so perfect.
Please. It's all right.
No, it's not all right.
I apologize. Is that what you want?
That is what I want.
All right, let's stop arguing. Does anyone have anything constructive to say?
Well, something's been bothering me a little. This whole business about the stab wound and how it
Don't
was
tell me
made.
we're going to start with that. They went over it and over it in
I
court.
know they did, but I don't go along with it. Okay, the boy was 5 feet 8 inches tall. The father was 6 feet 2 inches tall. That's a difference of 6 inches. It's a very awkward thing to stab down to the chest of someone who's half a foot taller than you are.
Look, you're not going to be satisfied till you see it again. Somebody get up. I'm going to give a demonstration. And look, because I don't want it to do it again. All right, is this 6 inches?
That's more than 6 inches.
All right, let it be more.
That's not funny.
What's the matter with you?
Hey, nobody's hurt, are they? Nobody's hurt?
No, nobody's hurt.
Okay, and there's your angle, down and in. And so I'd stab a taller man in the chest, and that's how it was done. Take a look at it and tell me if I'm wrong.
Down and in, I guess there's no argument.
Have you ever stabbed a man?
Of course not.
Have you?
All right, let's not be silly.
Have you?
No, I didn't.
Have you ever seen a man stabbed?
No,
Then where do you get all your information about how it's done?
it's just common sense.
Let me ask you this. The boy was an experienced knife fighter. He was sent to reform school for knife fighting. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Let me see that. Wouldn't it seem like an awkward way to handle a
What are you
knife?
asking me for?
Wait, what's the matter with me? Give me that knife.
Have you ever seen a knife fight?
Yes, I have.
In the movies?
My backyard, in the vacant lot across the street. Too many of them. Switch knives came from the neighborhood where I lived in. Funny that I didn't think of it before. I guess you try to forget those things. Anyone who's ever used a switch knife would have never stabbed downward. You don't use a switch knife that way. You go underhanded.
Then he couldn't have made the kind of wound that killed his father.
I suppose it's conceivable that he could have made the wound, but it's not likely. Not if he'd ever have any experience with switch knives. And we know that the kid had a lot of experience with switch knives.
I don't believe it.
Neither do I. You're giving us a lot of mumbo jumbo.
What do you think?
I don't know.
And you? What do you think?
Listen, I'll tell you all something. I'm a little sick of this thing already. I say we break it up and go home.
Okay, before we decide anything more, I would like to try and pull this thing together,
They
please.
should be good.
He has a right. Let him go ahead.
Do you want me to attend this too?
Let's hear him out.
I'm in advertising. I'm used to the big shots pulling things together.
Okay, I want you all to look at this logically and consistently.
We have. Guilty.
I want to know, is this kid smart or is he dumb?
What do you mean?
The kid was an experienced knife fighter. He was even sent to reform school for knife fighting. We covered that already. Now, the night of the murder, he bought a knife, a switch knife. It would then take a very stupid man to go murder someone, his father, with an instrument that everyone would associate with the boy.
I agree. He's dumb.
However, if he were dumb, why would he make the kind of wound that an inexperienced man would make?
I'm not sure I understand.
To murder someone, it takes great emotion, great hatred. And at that moment, he would handle the knife as best as he could. And the way he'd been trained was underhand. Someone who had not been trained would go overhand. But everyone knows that the kid is an experienced knife fighter, so he's being very smart. He knows in that moment to make the kind of wound that an inexperienced man would make. That is a smart man. Perhaps even smart enough to wipe away the fingerprints, maybe even smart enough to do the killing as a train was going by in order to cover the noise. Now, is the kid smart, or is he dumb?
Wait a minute.
The woman across the street, she saw the murder through the windows of the train, right? So couldn't someone in the train seen the murder too?
I mean, it's possible, but no one did that we know of.
Well, it would take an awfully dumb man to do the murder as the train went by.
Exactly. A dumb man. A very stupid man. A man swept by emotion. He probably had no idea a train was coming. And whoever did murder the father did it as well as he could.
I hadn't thought of that.
And the old man downstairs, on the stand, he swore on 15 seconds. He swore on it, but we all agree that it was almost 40 seconds.
Does the old man lie half the time, and then does he tell the truth the other half the time?
In order for this kid to be guilty, he must be stupid, then smart, then stupid, then smart, and so on. And also, for this kid to be guilty, the old man must lie half the time and tell the truth the other half the time. You can reasonably doubt.
I'm sold on reasonable doubt.
I think I am too.
I wanted more talk, and now I've had it.
I don't understand you people. How can you believe that this kid is innocent? Look, you know how those people lie. Well, I don't have to tell you. They don't know what the truth is. And let me tell you something. They don't need any real big reason to kill anybody either. They get drunk and bang. Somebody's lying in the gutter. Look, nobody's blaming them. That's just how they are. They're violent. Human life don't mean as much as them as it does to us. Where do you think you're going? Look, these people are drinking and fighting all the time. And if somebody gets killed, so somebody gets killed. Look, there are a few good things about them. Look, I'm the first to admit that. I've known a few of them who are pretty decent, but that's it. That's the exception. For most of them, it's like they have no feelings. They can do anything. What is going on here? I'm trying to tell you all something.
I've had enough. If you open your mouth again, I'm going to scratch your eyes out.
I'm trying to tell you.
Everybody sit down.
What time is it?
10 minutes of 6.
Wait, can't you see the clock without your glasses?
Not clearly, no.
Glasses are a nuisance, aren't they?
Do you wear your glasses to bed?
Of course not. No one wears their eyeglasses to bed.
What do you do when you wake up in the middle of the night when you don't know what time it is?
So I put my glasses on and look at the clock.
The woman who testified that she saw the killing. What about her?
Did she wear glasses?
Of course, the woman wore bifocals. I remember this very clearly because of how strong they looked.
Of course, bifocals. She never took them off.
Funny, I hadn't thought of that.
I think it's logical to say that she was not wearing her glasses in bed, and I don't think she'd put them on to glance casually out the window. Now, she testified that the killing took place the instant that she looked out the window and the lights went out a split second later. She wouldn't have had time to put on her glasses then. Now, perhaps she really does believe she saw the boy kill his father. I say she only saw a
How do you
blur.
know what she saw? Maybe she's farsighted. How does he know all these things?
Does anyone still think there's not a reasonable doubt?
I'll always wonder, but there is a reasonable doubt.
I think he's guilty.
Does anyone else?
No, I'm convinced now there's a reasonable doubt.
You're all alone.
I don't care if I'm alone. I have a right.
Yes, you do have a right.
Well, then I told you. I think he's guilty. What else do you want?
Your arguments.
I gave you my arguments.
Well, we're not convinced, but that's okay. We're waiting to hear them again. We have time.
You're the one who came up with all the arguments. We're gonna send a guilty man, a murderer, out walking, running in the streets. You've got to stay with me.
I'm sorry. I'm convinced there's a reasonable doubt in my mind.
Well, we're waiting.
You're not gonna intimidate me. I'm entitled to my opinion. It's gonna be a hung jury. That's it.
Well, there's nothing we can do about that except hope that some night, maybe in a few months, you might get some sleep.
You're all alone.
It does take a great deal of courage to stand alone.
But if it is a hung jury, there will be another trial and we'll point these things out to the various lawyers.
Well, we're waiting.
All right.
Not guilty?
Not guilty.